Hi. So apparently a lot of people can't do math. I don't know where the trouble is, but let me just write up. So it's 8 divided by, this is a problem. There are similar problems, but divided by 2, parentheses 2 plus 2, right? Pretty simple. Now, what does that equal? It's equal to 1. Now, I'm gonna explain further. Some people get 16. Is to 16, which is wrong. It's weirdly many who get this wrong, and I genuinely don't know why. So, in mathematics, there are certain rules that make it so that I can rewrite the question. In fact, that was a terrible 2. 2 parentheses 2 plus 2 divided by 8. This would be the same thing, right? But I can rewrite it a different way, which makes this more clear. Okay? So this is, let me just remove this, delete. You can write it as 2, or 8 divided by 2. Okay? This question is really weirdly written, because it's hard to understand. Because is it like this? 2 plus 2? Because then I would have agreed that it would be 16. But it's not that simple. What I believe it is, which is a much better way to write this up, is like this. 8, 2, 2 plus 2, which would equal to 1. Now, and there is a difference, right? Because this is basically just proves that a lot of people on the internet can't write up proper math questions to where they use this instead of either this or this. Right? And it's even weirder because, or, and I believe it's like this, and my reasoning for this is pretty simple. You can do this a different way than just dividing this, multiplying this, getting together, you get 16. So you divide, then it would be multiply there, and you multiply that with that. This is 4. Everyone knows this is 4. Right? And you get 16. Pretty simple. Right? But you can multiply, and this is a better way to do it, in my opinion, than doing the dividation first, and that is to multiply into the parentheses. 2 plus 2. So if there is a multiplication right there, let's just use 2 because that's what the question was. Then you can multiply into it. So you would multiply 2 by 2 and the other plus by 2. So then you would get equal to 4 plus 4, which is equal to 8. Pretty simple, right? You should be able to do this Which is why I think the question is this, which makes it 1. Which would mean you could also write it differently, which would make it the exact same question, but also make it like, that is 8 divide. I'm just gonna use slash as divide. Divide by 2. And using slash is so much better than using the divide sign, because you don't get the same, like, you don't get the same mistake. And in this case, you wouldn't rewrite it. 2 plus 2. That's another way to write it. You can also write it as 8 divided by and then slash 2 slash 2 plus 2 slash slash. That would be the same question as this. But now you have to, like, solve this. So you would have 4 here, and then multiply 4 by 2, which is 8, and then you get 8. So the correct way is that you would get 1 on this question. Now, why do so many people get 16, or like wrong, somehow getting 32 or something, ignoring the dividation sign or divide? And it's because they use pedmas, pedmas, which is parentheses exponents slash fractions, but you know, and then division, multiplication, or multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And then you would go from left to right, unless there's something like parentheses. So you would use the parentheses, then you would go from left to right if for the other things, right? Which is kind of wrong, because you should be able to go from left to right or right to left. Why should we listen to you? Just don't worry about it, okay? I have done, like, literal or mathematics to literal rocket science. Not that bad, just like orbits, right? Not with work related, school related. Right. And normally you would do multiplication before division for this reason, but anyway. But it just shouldn't matter. Right? Which is, you don't usually write in one line, or you do the formula. But at the same time, you wouldn't make this mistake, because you would understand, oh yeah, it's this side, and then there's this side of the parenthesis, of it, right? So you'd multiply this, or this, not divide, and then multiply it. I guess you could divide this and then divide that again, but mm, it's basically podmas. And you would do exponents, then you would go from left to right. If it's like multiplication and division at the same time, it doesn't really matter whether you do it from left to right or right to left, or up to down, whatever suits, whatever floats your boat. That doesn't matter, right? As much. Doesn't really matter at all. And they would go, parentheses, this is 4, so they would have 8, 2 times 4. Everyone knows 2 plus 2 is 4. Well, not everyone, but most people. Then you would go from left to right. That was a terrible multiplication sign. So then it would go from left to right. So 8 by 2 is 4, times 2 is or times 4 is 16. 16. Ooh, no. Don't do this. This is wrong. Because technically, it's still in parentheses. It's just one number now. So usually it's solved, so you would push it out. Or so you would not write these. Solved now. You just dictate. The only thing this does is so that you do this as 1. You do that before you multiply. So you don't multiply 2 by 2, then which is 4, then plus 2, which is 6. Wrong. Just dictate what you would do. So you do inside or multiply all numbers inside of it. Right? And technically you can multiply 2 inside of it, right? If you didn't know that was 2, so that would be x instead. So this was x. You would not know what this is. So then you would multiply 2 by x, which would be 2x. So it would be 8 divided by 2x plus 4. Let me just remove this. Two x plus 4. Right? Easy. Easy. It's pretty simple. Really. Math isn't that hard. Who would have thunk? I used 13 minutes just to explain basic math. Why? Why? It's Twitter. I understand that it's fucking stupid, but it's not that hard. I understand there are people who struggle with math, but if if you learned basic math and, used basic logic, then you would do it. Let's just write. Dividing is basically the same as, fractions. 2, 4, which is equal to, 0.5. 0.5. What happens if you divide 2 by 4? You would get 0.5. Which is why you would often use slash as dividing in coding because it's essentially the same. Same as fractions. I am using that right. Sorry, I'm not a native fraction. I'm not fraction. I'm not a native English speaker. So sometimes I do get it wrong, but it's fraction, right? Because dividing is just the same as fraction. So, as I explained earlier, you can rewrite as 8 on top of 2 times 2 plus 2. Now, if it was plus there instead of times, it wouldn't be like that, right? It would be like this. And that would be 8 divided by 2 plus, guess what, 4. Which is, 2 plus 2 is 4. In that case, it would be 8. Right? But since it says multiply, and this 2 are the ones that multiply, well, it goes like that. And not the other way around. Which would make it, again, 1. It is not 16. Learn basic math. Basic math. Woo! Seriously. Let's be serious here. While math can seem a lot harder than it is, if you use basic logic, it's not that hard. I understand for those who don't have logic, or those who weren't taught properly, and was just taught use pedmas, or something like that, or weren't really taught like how to math, so basically had bad teachers or didn't, quite follow, so you just, oh, pedmas. That's how you math? Yes, yes, yes. You remember algebra? Just, if you're not sure, try to put it as algebra. Let's say you didn't know this 2 was 2, so it was x. Again, you would multiply you would multiply before you would divide it. So multiply 2 by x, so you would get 2x. Then you would multiply the other one, right? In that case, it would still be divide. So you would have 8 divided by 2x plus 4. And technically, it would still be in parentheses. So you would have, like, in, or 8 divided, so it would be like, it would be like 8 divided by 2x plus 4. You may not know what that is. So in this case, it could be 16. So what you would do in this case, you would, switch it around. So you would take the 8 over there, which would be times 8. Since it's a plus 4, it would be minus 4. So 2x is equal to this. Right? That is what 2x is equal. In this case, in case it is 6. That's what it is in case it's 16, so you would have like 2x, so you would have divided by. So divided by 2, which would make x, right? So this is what x is equal to. Oh, I don't want to calculate this in my head, so let's just use a calculator. 8 times 16 is equal to 128. Minus 4 is, well, 124. Divided by 2 is equal to 62. So in this case, x is 62. X is equal to 62. Now, in the comments of this video, if I do get any, tell me how I'm wrong at math and why I should just quit life or whatever, or how I'm wrong and it's actually 16 or 32. It's actually quite frightening how many, not only like in the question, like in a similar question, not only wasn't the correct answer there, but the thing that I think was like a 4 divided by, no, I don't remember it. Anyway, that would make it like 1 again. And not only wasn't the correct answer there, not only was the answer which was stated wrong, it also 32% of them there was I just assume it's trolls because they got 32 and that wasn't even a possibility unless you just did not divide or at all, or if you just unless you changed or if you changed the you know numbers. But I digress. This is a problem. I'm probably gonna leave a video and the link why pedmas is wrong. This is a very absurdly long math video, and I don't want to make math videos. So yeah, bye.